Tucked away in downtown Huntsville, the historic Weeden House offers visitors a glimpse into the life and legacy of Maria Howard Weeden. Built in 1819, the same year that Alabama actually became a state, the home is now a museum, and it showcases Weeden's art, an artist, a visionary, and poet who used her talent to challenge racial stereotypes of her time. Here's more in this week's Black History Month feature.
Now, her paintings look like photographs, and if you take a magnifying glass, you can see individual eyelashes.
Look at these paintings long enough, and it's like you know exactly what they're thinking and feeling.
Tears in their eyes and wrinkles in their faces.
An incredible, special woman Maria Howard Weeden was. She was decades ahead of others as far as being a champion for civil rights.
Beth Hamilton with the Weeden House Museum says, Maria Howard Weeden captured every emotion with each stroke of a 3-strand horsehair paintbrush. Considered legally blind and stood at just 4 feet 8 inches tall, Weeden was born July 6, 1846 in this very room, in this house at 300 Gates Avenue Southeast in Huntsville. Her parents were slave owners.
And spent all of her life in the house, except for when it was requisitioned by Union officers during the Civil War. But when they came back, the house was intact, but none of the furnishings were here.
Weeden would use her talents to paint replicas of art from famous artists. And it wasn't until 1892, when she was invited to the World's Fair in Chicago, when she found her inspiration.
And when she got there, she was horrified by the way African Americans were portrayed in illustrations. So she came back home to Huntsville and started to paint the freed slaves who lived in Huntsville after the war. We have no idea how many paintings she's done, but a lot of the ones in our collection, we know stories about them.
Many of them she knew her whole life. She would paint their picture and turn their stories into poems using their dialect. At a time where African Americans weren't seen as human, Hamilton says Weeden stepped out to change that through art. And Hamilton hopes more folks will come to the Weeden House Museum to learn more about Weeden's life and legacy.
I think she just saw them as people, saw them as her friends that she'd known her whole life, and wanted to replace in people's minds when they read these stories that these people had dignity, they were beautiful, and just to substitute for the awful illustrations that were out there in books at the time.
If you want to visit the Weeden House, all you have to do is go on our website at WadeTV.com for more information.